Good morning, everybody. So we have we've got just a couple of days before Thanksgiving, and then between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I think we have 3 weeks or so. So I think what we should try in that time is to play around just with the first section of the form with this new approach that we've been fussing around with here for the past couple of weeks, um, and just see where it goes. So when I say we should play around with it, I mean we should play around with it. I want you guys to be involved with. Give me comments, give me suggestions. Whatever comes to your mind, please share it with me and with the whole class. All right. So let's go right back to where we were in the first move. We'll finish up the first move today. Probably get to the second move tomorrow. Um, but let's just play with it, right? Wind up and swing. Wind up, swing. Wind up, swing. Wind up, swing. Okay, so I was doing swing
instead of hit.
instead of hit.
I'm not sure that was any more satisfying.
I'm not sure it was either when I actually did it. The problem with hit is it's so martial. But how do you guys feel about it? Is hit okay, or should we find another word, or what?
I like it.
Well, that tells me something, right?
No, because it puts you in the right
Okay,
mindset.
all right. Then we'll do wind up and hit. All right, one
Yes.
more.
You thought you were being in
I thought I
danger
was
of
being really evolved, right? Wind up and hit. Wind up and hit. Wind up and hit. Wind up and hit. So there was one thing I wanted to do today. We've actually done this in the past, but I'm trying to figure out how to teach this. One of the things that can coordinate with your physical movements is your breathing. And that will supercharge your physical movement, of course. So I'm going to give you kind of two rules. The first rule is very exacting, and the second rule is there's no rules. All right. By saying there's no rules, I mean the number one thing that you should do about your breathing is breathe naturally. Don't breathe in any way that seems artificial, right? But there is a natural kind of breathing with this. If we go back to our ball player who's hitting, right? Watch me hit this ball. Now, tell me about my breathing, just naturally. Am I breathing in or breathing out? Am I breathing in or breathing out? Am I breathing in or breathing out?
Breathing out
when I'm like this.
You're breathing in.
I'm breathing in. When I'm like this.
You're exhaling.
How do you know that?
Because that's what the body wants to do.
Because that's what the body wants to do, exactly. Exactly. Now, here's the thing. The ball player's just making one motion. Breathe in, breathe out, run to the base, right? When you're doing Tai Chi, it's not that simple. It's, all right, wind up, hit, wind up, hit, wind up, hit, wind up, hit. If you breathe in and out like that, you'll hyperventilate. right?
Well, if we do it that fast.
Exactly.
So you have to slow down.
So this is one of the reasons that the form is done more slowly, is to allow you to do some of this breathing without hyperventilating. But there's another aspect to it too. You cannot go through the form and try to breathe in and breathe out exactly according to wind up and hit. It just does not work out. So yeah, breathe in and breathe out as you wind up and hit, but realize that you're going to have to modify that from time to time. So that's where the breathe naturally comes in. The breathe in and breathe out, that's natural.
Yeah.
As you just said.
Well, some parts are very easy. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in,
Breathe out. Breathe
breathe
in.
in, breathe out. Well, that takes
So
no effort.
one of the aspects of coordinating the breathing with your movement is when you do that, you begin to realize there is a beat inside the form.
Yes.
Just like a musical beat. And it happens to be your breathing. Right? So let's try it. And as Annie said, you can't do this very fast. Because if you do it fast, you'll fall over. So one of the major reasons Tai Chi and Qigong tend to be done at a very moderate pace is to allow your breathing to be very natural. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay, so my breathing couldn't be very natural because I was busy talking. Let's do it again without me talking. So I tend to have really big breaths, right? Because I'm big enough that I have to take big breaths. I don't want to have to hurry those breaths. I don't want to have to breathe too fast or exhale too fast. I want to be comfortable. And since that's true, then my Tai Chi has to be relatively slow, right? If you move too fast, you can modify your breathing so that you can move fast. But I think we should leave that for a more advanced class. Can you move more quickly? Of course. But when you do, it becomes much more like running, right? And the Tai Chi form should be about gathering energy. So you don't want to overdo it because you won't gather any energy. You'll use energy, right? Go. Stop. In a way, at least for today, we should go even slower than what Annie was doing, and I'll tell you why. If you want a big yang, right, then you have to have a big yin before that. If you want to exhale like this, Well, then you have to inhale, really. You have to have a big inhale. If you want to have a big inhale, then you have to have a big exhale before that. So, in other words, you have to breathe really deeply. And to breathe really deeply takes a couple of moments. I've told you guys before, Master Jean used to say this all the time, and I mean all the time, like 10 times a day, right? Every movement, all the way, all the way. In other words, you don't get 90% of the way done and then go on. You have to wait for another moment and get 100% done. And here's where a lot of that comes in. This is, I think, going to be interesting to Annie because she was talking about this yesterday. One of the major aspects of that is grounding yourself. Grounding yourself so you're not floating along, right? And to ground yourself, you've got to go down that last 10%. In other words, you have to be patient. You have to wait for everything, for your breath to go all the way down and empty out, clear down to your dantian and even lower, and for your chi at the same time, your chi goes down your legs and hits the ground, and you can feel it when it does that. You can feel it when it hits the ground. Now, it's true that when you become really expert at it, you can do it much more quickly.
But we're not there, so
But we're not there, so let's do it really slow. Now, in fact, you can see it particularly in this last movement. Every time that's going down is called sinking, right? Every time you sink twice. The first time to finish the move that you're doing. The second is to prepare for the next move. So watch this last one. Right? 1, 2, and bounce back up. Now, when you get comfortable with that, of course, you don't even see that from the outside. Although if you watch Master Fun, sometimes you'll see it. All right? Try it. All right? It's a little subtle in places, but it's there. Now, I don't, personally, when I do my form, I don't exaggerate that, but it's a good thing to exaggerate it right now, just to kind of get the feeling of it, right? Can you feel that when you're doing it?
Yeah. You can actually feel it.
The very beginning. Boom, that's the movement. Now you want to jump up. right? So to jump up, you got to go down, right? Down, and then root yourself and push out, and down, right? And jump, and down, and down, and jump up, and down, and down, and jump up. Boom, right? So there's another little bit of natural rhythm. There's a rhythm inside the form, and that's what you want to find, right? So two clues to finding that internal rhythm: the breathing and the sinking, right?
That second part was a little bit more difficult because, especially of the big one, when you're going this way.
It's more difficult because
To figure out exactly where I'm supposed to be breathing in.
breathing in and breathing out,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you, Annie.
Yeah. So what? Show me what you've worked out.
So, well, I haven't really worked it out. I
Okay.
was
Well, show me where you're at.
experimenting,
Yeah.
So it's like. See, that's one long exhale, but I feel like there needs to be an inhale in there and then another.
Exactly. This is where you've got to work it out. It's like, imagine you're learning a formal dance routine, right? Where you're gonna present a dance, or you're a musician. You play the trumpet.
Okay, I figured it out.
You're gonna have to work out your breathing techniques.
Yeah, I
All right.
figured it out, I think. So, in, breathe out. So I'm breathing in at the height of the circle, breathing, and then breathing out.
So in that one circle, there are two breaths, right?
Yeah.
So what Annie has worked out for herself is in that circle, two breaths, right? It's not that it's right or wrong. It's that it works for her or it doesn't work for her, right? Your breathing technique may be the same, or it may be a little bit different. That's what Master Fung meant by breathe naturally. Don't try to conform yourself to some artificial way of doing it. If remember what we did with this circle last week when we were talking about winding up and hitting. Wind up, hit. Wind up, hit. Wind up and hit. So if you went according to that, you would have to take 3 breaths. But that's probably too much.
Yeah,
You can try it, see what you think, but what you will probably find is it's too much and you feel like you're hyperventilating. That's why almost everybody de-emphasizes the first wind up and hit. Right? They don't do that.
skip over it.
You know it's there, but you just kind of skip over it. Now, this one at the end, you definitely should be breathing out, right? So basically what happens, do it again and call it out. Breathe in and breathe out.
Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out.
Okay, so this is what she's worked out. This is a very reasonable way to do this. It's very close to what I do.
But it doesn't take into consideration this hit.
That very first one, you just elide it. You just blow right over it. You don't, it doesn't even show up.
Let me think.
You
about
know that it's happening. And remember that the chi will go where your mind goes. So if you know that movement is there, if you do that with your mind, it's still happening. The chi is still doing it. But on the outside, or even in your own breathing, so you go through a move when you're working a move. You go through it, and you solve breathing problems like Annie just did. But I can guarantee you, and I can guarantee Annie, that what she has worked out is still a little artificial.
Yeah, it feels artificial.
It feels artificial. So what's the solution to that? Well, you just keep doing it. You just keep doing it, and what will happen is your body will figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So the first time you go through with your head, but the second time and the 100th time you go through with your body. All right? So for me, I was just watching myself do this. I've done this move 100,000 times, and I don't think about the breathing anymore. But hold on a second.
I definitely want to breathe at the height of this circle. I definitely feel that's right.
Exactly, right? So I'm going to stand up here close up. Can you guys hear me breathe? Right? Breathe in from here to here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Right? That's what I've worked out over time. So it's the same as what Annie is doing in the sense that it's 2 cycles, 2 breaths. But it's a little different in that where I start and where I end is a little bit different than what she was doing. That's just because she's postulating, she's making a hypothesis. She's postulating, oh, I should breathe like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's a reasonable hypothesis. Then you take it to your form and you try it, right? And what she noticed was, okay, it works, but it feels a little artificial. So what you have to do is just keep doing it. Breathe in from here to here. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now you notice in that circle, at least the way that I'm doing it, there's a good portion of that circle where I'm kind of in neutral. I'm not breathing in or breathing out. All right? Breathe in, breathe out. Neutral, neutral, neutral. Breathe in, breathe out. Now again, that's a head trip. What's really important is that your body be comfortable with your breathing.
Yeah, when we're doing this hit, I'm in neutral.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing when we I'm in neutral.
Try it, try it.
That feels better to me.
Try it like this. You don't
Okay.
have to do it. Just try it. All right. From here, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe out, breathe out. Neutral, 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 neutral. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay, let's do it without talking. So I'm doing it, analyzing it as a head trip. I'm doing it two ways. Boom, right? And I'm skipping the second one. And that's a reasonable way to do it. It works for me. That doesn't mean you have to do it that way. But you've got to work something out so that it feels really natural and comfortable. Right? And basically, it must conform in some general manner to the baseball player rule. When you're hitting, you're breathing out. When you're winding up, you breathe in. When you're hitting, you breathe out. All right? And then you have to play around with this until you figure out a way for this to work. So it's pretty natural for me to breathe that way, and I'm skipping over one aspect, right? And that aspect is right here. Now, if I were doing that in real life, right, then you would do an inhale and an exhale right there, and I'll show you what I mean if Annie will give me a hand. So Annie's gonna give me a right to my nose, right? You notice, right? It's coming in. You step to the side, right? Her momentum. Her momentum is already going that way. So all you're doing is helping her do what she wants to do. If you're going to go like that, that's an exhale. All right? So again, she comes up and punches, step to the side, right? And you're kind of exhaling as she goes by. But you don't have to do that in the form. And I'm personally skipping that one. So there are, in that first move, there are 10 shifts between yin and yang. But I'm taking only 9 breaths. I'm skipping one of them. Right? And that's what I mean. And the reason I'm skipping it is I would basically be hyperventilating if I didn't skip it. And it doesn't feel good to do that. So as you work through each of these moves, you need to play with that and see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And it will definitely change over time too. So don't get locked into one particular thing, but just try and experiment. See if you can come up with a breathing pattern that works for you, and then play with it over time too. Let's go on to the next move. We haven't done this next move as far as winding up and hitting. So let's do that. Wind up, hit. Wind up, hit. Right? Wind up, hit. 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 Wind up, hit.
There's a lot of wind up and hits in there.
There's a lot of winding up and hitting in
A
there.
lot more than I thought.
Exactly. Well, you just yes, exactly. Yeah. Did you want to say something, Catherine?
Yeah, can you do what you just did, but slowly? Because there is exactly what Annie said. So many wind up, I'm lost.
Yes. Just think of it this way. When you're talking about winding up and hitting, what you're really describing is analyzing a move for its shin yi. Shin yi means literally, shin is your heart, yi is your mind. When the Chinese talk about having an intention to do something, they don't just say it's the mind. It's the shin yi, it's the heart and the mind that create intention. So shin yi means your intention. Well, what are your intentions in a martial art, right? Well, when you're hitting somebody, your intention is to hit them. So what every martial application is one of these circles. Wind up and hit. Wind up, 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 hit. Right?
Way too complicated.
It is complicated. And
I'm going to start to feel like Jackie Chan here in a minute.
if you do this for the first 6 movements, the rest of the movements, you don't have to do it like this. I'll tell you why. What is this analysis really about? It's about learning to see. It's about learning to see what you're actually doing.
Or not doing.
Or not doing, right? Once you sort of get into the rhythm of that, it will go much more quickly, and you don't have to be so intense with the analysis, right? But think about the first movement. Wind up, hit. Not too far back. Yeah. Now, that is a martial application. That's something you might do to, in this case, to protect yourself, or maybe to bounce somebody around. It's one particular move. It's yin and yang. And the breathing goes right along with it, because boy, this one is very close to hitting a baseball. Breathe in, breathe out, right? It's just as simple as can be, all right? When you do it, you want to feel comfortable, grounded, and coordinated. Yes, good, Catherine. A couple of the things that you should pay attention to get that feeling is do it slow so you're comfortable. Right? It can still be intense. You can still, right? But you do it relatively slow so that you're comfortable and you're not exhausting yourself, right? Second thing is you want to ground yourself. Well, that has to do a lot with your breathing and staying a little slow so that you really let your chi down to the ground, right? And then you want it to be coordinated. One of the rules of coordination for Tai Chi are the three outer harmonies. The three outer harmonies, I've mentioned them before. What it means simply is that the joints on your arms and legs should line up. So your hips and your shoulders and your hips should line up. Your elbows and knees should line up. Your wrists and ankles should line up. Now, don't make a fetish out of it, but basically, if you were to do this move, watch, I'm going to do it wrong. Does that look coordinated?
No, you look very uncomfortable.
I look very uncomfortable.
You're making me uncomfortable.
Come here a minute. Put your hand on my shoulder, right there. Push. I would fall over immediately. Why? It's because my shoulder and my hip are out of alignment.
And you are not
my shoulder is going way back behind my hip. That raises the chi on this side. I'm practically throwing myself over. So instead, leave your shoulder and hip lined up. And when you do that, it's very relaxing. It's very relaxed. It can be very strong, but it's relaxed. The hip and the shoulder are lined up. The elbow and the knee are lined up. The wrist and the ankle are lined up. Watch. All right. Now come here and try and push me.
No.
All right.
No.
It's because you're lined up. You feel really good. I don't have them queued up right now, but you remember those pictures of Madame Gao Fu.
Yeah.
81 years old and a beautiful, beautiful form. Why was her form so beautiful? Because she understood how to coordinate her body. And one of the main things that she did was shoulders and hips, elbows and knees, wrists and ankles. Very simple. Just feel them as you do these exercises. Feel them. Look, I'll pull it this way. My arm is right over my leg. It's not behind my leg. It's not in front of my leg. It's right where my leg is. So my hip and my shoulder are lined up. My elbow and knee are lined up. My wrist and ankle are lined up.
You look relaxed.
And when you're, exactly as Annie says, when you are like that, you don't strain anything. So you can relax into your posture, and that's why Tai Chi looks so graceful. It is graceful. It's graceful because it's very simple. Right back to the same place again where you started. When you go on this side, it's the same thing. This arm and this leg are lined up. So we're going to go through each of the first 6 moves and analyze the shit out of them over the next the next 6 weeks or so.
You're gonna have to bleep that out. Their little mouth.
But it's the truth, right? We're going to analyze them down to a gnat's ass so that you understand what you need to do as a practitioner to keep going. Because the truth is, we can't do that with, that's really good, Catherine, yes. We can't do this with every move in the class. So we're going to do it for the first 6 moves, the first section, in that excruciating detail, so that you understand how to do it for yourself. And in the future, then you just do it for yourself. And once you get the idea, it will go fairly quickly because it's actually quite simple, right? Okay, guys, we will move on to the second move more slowly and in more detail tomorrow, right? So you have yourselves a good day. Give me 15 minutes before we do the advanced class.
Doing it this slowly and focusing on the breath, though, allows me to do reverse yogic breathing.
Yes.
So I have really been focusing on both ends of this tube.
Yeah.
And that has been very helpful.
Good. I'm good. I'm glad to hear it. I think this is a better way to approach it. Okay. Guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.